it's been an unbelievable atmosphere. There's been a ton of hype for this team as the Badgers have been able to not only participate in one, but 2 games at the brand new Meridian Center. We had nearly 3,000 fans at both of those games, so the recruiting has improved exponentially under Charles Kissy. The crowd hype, the atmosphere around campus has been unbelievable, and we're only expecting it to grow with a playoff game today and possibly beyond.
Yeah, well, first off, it's an honor to be back here, so thanks so much for having me, and it's great to see the atmosphere has continued to grow every year, as you mentioned, Lewis. I'm going to look at this from a 3-year sort of perspective on head coach Charles Kissy. When he got here, the only player that's played in a playoff game on this entire team right now is Nate Gardner, who may or may not even see the floor tonight. As far as the rest of the team goes, this is a Brock Badgers team that 3 years ago defeated the Laurier Golden Hawks. Right now, you've got a guy on the team that's been an OUA Rookie of the Year. They have a CIS Rookie of the Year. These guys are all not only just in their 3rd year, this is a team that's going to be even stronger next year. So this is a great job by Charles Kissy and the entire Brock Athletic Department.
Now let's stick to this season and look across the court and take a peek at the Laurier Golden Hawks. They finished the season with a 9-11 record. They actually finished 8-12, but after the sanctions to York University for dressing an ineligible player, they had to lose that game 1-0 to Laurier, so they did pick up their 9th win by default. So let's just talk a little bit about their season and where they are right now coming into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think their record, believe it or not, I think it speaks higher than this team really is. I mean, 5 of their 9 wins this season come, as you mentioned, 1 against York, 2 against Waterloo, the worst team in the entire OUA, and 2 against Algoma. In fact, when the Badgers beat the Laurier Golden Hawks by 24 points back in Laurier just over a month ago, it was Laurier who shot 15 of 32 from the free throw line. How are they going to be any better tonight with this hostile environment they've come into? They also shoot the most shots out of any team in the league, and to go ahead with that, shooting the most shots, they have the worst field goal percentage. That has to change tonight if they have any chance against the Badgers at home.
Yeah, no question about it. It's going to be an exciting matchup, and that's the percentage specifically is going to be something to keep an eye out, although the Badgers taking a lot more shots per game as should be expected, as they've been heralded as one of the best offenses in all of Canada, not just Ontario. But now switching specifically to this game again, there's been a lot of key players on both sides, of course, but 2 players tonight that we're going to look for. It's pretty obvious that everybody's here to see Will Coulthard and Danny Elgatti. Lewis, just talk about them.
Well, Zach, when you start any conversation about this Brock basketball team, it has to start with Danny Elgatti, a guy that's scoring 19.9 points per game. That's good for 6th in the OUA, 11.7 rebounds per game. Not only is that number 1 in the OUA, but he's also number 2 in the OUA in terms of offensive rebounds per game. And getting those second chance opportunities are going to be of utter importance for this Brock team. But not only that, he does it on the defensive end as well. He's over 2 steals per game and 2 blocks per game. Both of those numbers rank in the top 5 in the OUA as well. So he can do it on both ends of the floor, and that's what makes him such a lethal player.
And look out for Will Coulthard tonight. We spoke with head coach Charles Kissy before this game, and he said he's a very streaky shooter. Sometimes he can score 6 points, and sometimes he can score 30. He just hopes that he doesn't score the 30 tonight.
Yeah, no question about it, Danny Elgatti. If you have him in your fantasy league, you're probably doing quite well. Now, anyways, let's move away from the star players for a moment and specifically focus on this Brock Badger team. I mean, a lot of you guys watching may have seen a bunch of new faces, maybe some guys you may not have been familiar with who have taken on a prominent role. I know you specifically have been enamored with one Badger specifically, so just give me a Badger who has surprised you this season, that's exceeded expectations from the preseason.
Well, for me, it's got to be Tyler Brown, the freshman who came into this season, and the opening game, I mean, Nolan McKenzie, the starting point guard for this Brock team last year, had that lingering ankle ligament injury, and he came off the bench for those first few regular season games, and Tyler Brown was really thrust into that starting role, and he thrived in that role, and he's cherished it, and because of that, of his great play early on in the season, he's gone on to start 16 of the 19 games this season, and his numbers are modest rather. I mean, just 7 points per game, but he's shooting 43% from the floor. Not the greatest numbers, but what I find so intriguing is he's leading the team in assists. He's second on the team in steals, and not only that, of the 5 main starters for this team, he has the lowest amount of turnovers. And when your point guard in your starting lineup has the lowest amount of turnovers, it just makes the game that much easier. He's not turning the ball over. He can facilitate. He can get the ball to those guys like Danny Elgatti and Joniel Simpson. And not only that, his role as a point guard, he's more of an energy player rather than a facilitator. He does lead the team in assists, but putting Nolan McKenzie on the bench, putting him with guys who aren't really adept scorers or can do it on their own, Nolan McKenzie's really fit that role even better than I thought he would originally. And it speaks to the depth of this team. Last year, Yusuf Ali was the guy that was given every opportunity, and he just never ran with it. Now you got 2 guys in that role that can both take it if one guy's having a bad night. Now, you see the starting lineups on your screen here. His projected lineup shouldn't change from anything from this season, with Tyler Brown at point guard, Joniel Simpson, Ryan Bennett, Danny Elgatti, and the senior Matt Marshall. That should be the same today.
But what's the game plan for the Badgers against this Laurier team? They're the resounding favorite in this game, but as we've seen, they have been prone to some upsets. They did lose to the Western Mustangs this year, a team that the Laurier Golden Hawks actually beat. So there's just still a lot of parity, and especially this season in the OUA, it's a lot closer than it has been in years past. What do the Badgers need to do today, specifically, to punch their ticket to Carleton?
Well, for me, Zach, it's two things. Number one, rebounding. Over the past 5 games, the Laurier Golden Hawks are a minus 35 in the rebounding category. In the past 5 games for the Laurier Golden Hawks, they're also shooting just 62.5% from the free throw line. You compare that to the Badgers' numbers in their past couple of games. The Badgers are shooting 83% from the free throw line in their last 3 games. They've shot 70 free throws in those last couple of games, and not only that, the rebounding for this Badger team. The Badgers 20 offensive rebounds against the Laurier Golden Hawks on January the 13th. Expect more of that today. Matt Marshall, Danny Elgatti, expect them to be crashing the glass and getting a ton of second chance opportunities for this Badger team.
Yeah, I mean, they have the size down low. They got to use it the same way they did in Laurier, and they should be able to come out on top tonight.
Now let's move into the X Factors, guys. So basically, for those of you at home who don't know what an X Factor is, it's a player who may not be expected to contribute per se when looking at the sheets, looking on paper, but who's going to be that guy who shocks everybody, comes up, plays a hero in an unexpected role today? Who's your pick, Lewis?
Well, for me, it's got to be Matt Marshall. The past couple of games against the Laurier Golden Hawks, he had 12 points, 10 rebounds in the game on January 13th. Rewind a season ago, he came off the bench, Matt Marshall did, played 36 minutes against the Golden Hawks, had a monster game, 21 points, 18 rebounds, and I mean, we saw earlier on in the season, we talked to associate head coach of the Laurier Golden Hawks, James Campbell, and what he said was that the Golden Hawks tried to play matchups in their first game against Brock, and they put in Vladimir Martovic into the starting lineup, and he's only a guy that plays about 10, 11 minutes per game. He can get anything going in terms of stopping Elgatti and helping to slow down Matt Marshall. And Matt Chesson is the only player on this Laurier team who's 6'8" or above. And you got two quality players on the Badgers that are 6'8" and above, Danny Elgatti and Matt Marshall. So for me, it's got to be one of them. I think that Danny Elgatti is going to be attracting a ton of double, triple teams. I expect Matt Marshall to crash the offensive glass. He had 5 offensive rebounds against the Golden Hawks on the 13th. I look for something around that number today. 5, 6, 7 offensive rebounds for Matt Marshall, close to 15 points and something close to 15 rebounds as well.
Justin?
I'm going to go to Zach Angelini. I think that it's going to be the difference between the Badgers and the Marauders game at the Meridian Center, where they used Elgatti and arguably too much, and they were drained. I think the Golden Hawks are going to do that today with Will Coulthard, and the Badgers are going to show their depth. Angelini, he's a veteran guy in this team. He's going to be graduating, as we know, at the end of the season, and he's a guy that can be a streaky three-point shooter, something the Badgers, even though they do like to put up the three ball, they haven't been very good at it this season. I look to him as maybe a guy that puts them on a run, creates an opportunity where the Golden Hawks have to call a timeout, and gets this crowd rocking.
Now, quickly before we wrap things up, predictions for tonight. Justin, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go 81-59 Badgers. Not quite as high a scoring game as it was at Laurier, but again, the Badgers in this building get it done by an easy margin tonight.
Lewis?
To me, I think it's going to be a cruising 20-point victory for this Brock team. We've seen how good they can be on the glass, and we've seen, I mean, the Laurier Golden Hawks have a negative 8.6 rebounding margin for the entire season per game. So I expect the Badgers to kill the Golden Hawks on the glass. I expect them to kill them at the free throw line as well. Because of that, the Golden Hawks are going to have a lot of trouble keeping up with this Badger team. I'm predicting 75-55 victory for the Badgers in this one.
Well, we're about to find out what happens. The last time the Brock Badgers won a home game here at home in the Bob Davis Gymnasium, they happened to go all the way to the Nationals and shocked Acadia to take home the 3rd national championship in school history. We'll find out if they can make that another win here at home. And in fact, as we mentioned earlier, their last victory in the postseason came against the very same Golden Hawks 3 years ago in Laurier. Danny Elgatti, an alumni of Waterloo, Ontario, will look to put his home team buried and look to carry his team forward into Ottawa. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Badgers Den live right here on OUA TV. Welcome back here inside the Bob Davis Gymnasium. We're going to quickly send it to Justin Bregman, who's courtside, with an update. Justin?
And of course, all the talk this week was about Danny Algotti, the former Waterloo native. He said he's been watching him since grade 11 in high school. And the biggest thing that they've been focusing on all week is to stop his dribble penetration down low. He scored 27 points and 16 rebounds, of course, in their last game in this last year. The Badgers won by 24. As for head coach Charles Kissy and the Brock Badgers, he gave me a letter of his 4-year plan coming in to the job here, and already a ton of the accomplishments has been done in his first 3 years, including top 10 in the OUA in the country, top 4 in the OUA, an annual improvement every year. They've gone from 4 wins to 7 wins and now to 13. The OUA Rookie of the Year, they've had that, of course, in Danny Algotti. Joneel Simpson won the CS Rookie of the Year, and of course, guys on pace to be CS All-Canadians, which of course we expect from Danny Algotti. Let's send it back over to you now, Zach.
Thanks for that, Justin. We're going to go ahead and now send it down to the court. MPA announcer Rob Mahood as we get set for the introductions, the national anthem, and tip-off, of course, as we get set to kick off the 2016 Wilson Cup playoffs. You're watching Badgers Den Live right here on OUA TV.
National anthem.
the Bob Davis Gymnasium, as we're just about set here for playoff basketball action. The starting lineups have been announced and they have been confirmed for your Brock Badgers at point guard. The freshman Tyler Brown, number 25. We've got Joe Neal Simpson, Ryan Bennett, the transfer from Laurentian, Danny Elgatti, one of the front runners for MVP, and the senior Matt Marshall rounding out your starting five. And it should be a fantastic one as I welcome in both my partners today for this game, and Lewis Glatt, who will be on color, and Justin Bregman will be patrolling the sidelines and chiming in with some insights as well. And certainly pleased to have you guys both back here on the court side. What may very well be the final home game of the season for the Brock Badgers, barring some crazy outcomes in the rest of the Wilson Cup. We've got Bowie here, who's done a tremendous job getting the fans in with the chants. We're waiting a little bit right now for the smoke to clear out. We've had these delays before, but this is great opportunity for the Badgers to get in behind their team here. We spoke with the Golden Hawks earlier. They said one of their keys in this game would be to get off to a quick start because they know how rowdy it's going to be in this tight gym, and you can see it already. It's unbelievable. We've seen good atmospheres. This is tops it all, doesn't it, Lewis?
That's right, Zach. I've been here for 2 years, and never in my career as a Brock Badger have I seen the Bob Davis Gymnasium as rowdy and as sold out as it is right now, Zach. This has got to be a career high potentially in terms of audience right now for this team.
And quickly, though, the Golden Hawks able to silence the crowd for just a moment as they get the wide open shot there to fall.
Miscommunication there by Tyler Brown, left his man. Easy layup for the Golden Hawks. It's going to be important for the Badgers to communicate on defense. This Laurier team just 9-11. Some of their wins coming against subpar teams. But this is the OUA, Zach. You can't take anyone for granted, especially at home.
Thomas. Now the three-point shot by Tenney is good. And the Golden Hawks quickly start this game off exactly how they wanted. And they lead at 5-0 in the first minute. The Badgers looking for their first shot of the night. We'll try and keep you up to date with what's going on in the women's game as they're about set to start the fourth quarter in Guelph in the first round of the Critelli Cup. Is Elgatti able to get the spin move and gets the layup to fall. A good start for number 13.
And Zach, looking at this Laurier team, there really isn't one specific player that can slow down Danny Elgatti. It's going to have to be a team effort. They're going to be throwing double teams, triple teams at him all game long.
Chase on, low to Will Coulthard, and he finishes the reverse. And that's a player, Justin, that's going to have to be watched on specifically by the Brock Badgers. Had an incredible game last playoffs, dropped 34 points on 55 shooting.
No doubt, the guy is a playoff performer, but the key is this year, the Badgers have limited Coulthard, just 11 points in their only meeting of the season.
Elgatti working down low, dishes it off to Bennett. Bennett beyond the arc, and you can count it for three. Ryan Bennett from Laurentian. And the Badgers cut the deficit to 2.
And that's exactly what this Brock team needs, Zach. Danny Elgatti's going to be seeing double and triple teams all night. It's going to be up to the other supporting role players for this team to hit their open shots that Elgatti sets up for them.
Back the other way, the pass and the finish with the one-handed slam. Danny Elgatti in the crowd claps in approval. What an atmosphere here. And the Badgers tie it up at 7. Chase on. He gives it off for Coulthard. Coulthard, an aggressive take, it doesn't fall. Chasing the follow-up, no good. And Simpson pulls down the big rebound. Now the steal, the layup, a nice move, good body control, and he gets it to fall around Ryan Bennett. That was Chutter Tenney.
And Tyler Brown,
5 on the night.
Tyler Brown a little too quick there on offense. He needs to slow things down, Zach. We saw this against McMaster, him trying to push the pace at times when really he shouldn't have done that and needs to pass it out to one of his teammates, as we see head coach Charles Kissy taking him off right away, not taking any of these mistakes for granted as he's putting in veteran point guard Nate Gardner into the game now.
Interesting, it's Nate Gardner coming in first instead of Nolan McKenzie. We haven't seen that this year. Nate Gardner, though, the senior, the only player with playoff experience, though, so keep that in mind, and we'll see if that wisdom brings any value to the Badgers today. Marshall, low to Elgatti, And that big man connection is going to have to be there all day if the Badgers want to beat this Laurier Golden Hawk team, and so far, so good.
Zach, Vlad Matovic started last time against these guys. James Alexander, the assistant coach of the Golden Hawks, preached today that they weren't going to do a size matchup. They were just going to play the way the Golden Hawks are. Right now, there's no one inside that can take Algotti.
Simpson the other way, a clear lane, and he can't get the layup to drop. Got a little too cute with it. Had a 2-on-1, easily could have made the pass there for the basket. Chase on the other way from downtown, and he hits it at the top of the circle. And that's now 2 big threes for the Golden Hawks early in this game.
And not only that, Zach, the defense is non-existent right now for the Badgers. As the Golden Hawks have had multiple open layups. They've had multiple three-point shot opportunities. They haven't been able to convert on them all, but they've been converting at a percent over 50.
Bennett can't hit from beyond the arc, and the rebound pulled down by Mikri.
But Zach, looking at this Laurier team, they really don't have any inside defensive presence. The Badgers shouldn't have any trouble scoring on them. It just comes down to defense. If the Badgers can slow them down on defense, they shouldn't have trouble pulling away in this game.
Chasen, he's working Algotti. Beyond the arc, a three-point shot, no good. Their first miss of the night. That one was Garrison Thomas on the miss.
And Zach, in that first matchup, the Laurier Golden Hawks 19 offensive rebounds. Even though the Badgers won by 24, Golden Hawks still had 19 offensive rebounds. It's something that the Badgers really have to key in and focus on, limiting the Golden Hawks to 1 shot per trip down the court.
Coulthard, he goes too quick and turns it over. Simpson, a clear path ahead, and he slams it home. Money Simpson with the dunk.
Unbelievable, Zach. This crowd on their feet for the entirety of this game to start. We just haven't seen that in the past couple years with this Brock program.
And quickly, we're going to have 3 new Badgers checking in for the first time today at the next whistle. As Coulthard, the fadeaway, doesn't get it to drop, but Joe Neal Simpson a little too eager on the rebound, and that's going to lead to a second chance effort. And again, Lewis, as we've seen throughout the season, that's been the Badgers' biggest weakness, and there you see it again.
Yeah, that's right, Zach. You can't be giving up those offensive rebound opportunities, especially when you get not only one hand, but 2 hands on it. You got to secure that if you're Joe Neal Simpson.
Especially in the postseason. Simpson makes up for it, though, on the offensive side with a nice layup in close. The Badgers keeping it close right now. They trail 14-13. Take no good by Mikri, but he pulls down his own rebound. And now Chasen gets another offensive rebound. So again, a couple chances extra for the Golden Hawks to score in the early going of this game.
Zach, that's the 3rd back cut today that the Badgers have been beat on clean. They need to focus and communicate much more on defense in order to stop those backdoor cuts.
4 seconds left on the shot clock. Ball will remain with the Golden Hawks. As we have Zach Angelini, Mitch Saunders, and Nolan McKenzie all checking in for the first time today. Danny Algotti, the only guy. Rather, he and Ryan Bennett remain on, and now we're going to get an out-of-bounds call, and it's going to be a turnover on the Golden Hawks.
And great hedging there by Zach Angelini, realizing that Will Coulthard was the one that was going to get that pass. Angelini undercuts the screens, blocks the inbounds pass, and forces the turnover.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the pregame show, Will Coulthard's going to be a guy to watch. The senior 5th-year guy averaging 17.8 points per game, but he's only shooting 33%, as Justin, you alluded to earlier. So if they give him some tough shots, he's prone to miss, and that's going to give the Badgers an opportunity to increase this lead as the day goes on. And now we're going to have our first trip to the free throw line, or rather the Badgers will head to the line for the first time, and it's going to be Zach Angelini getting a crack at the first 2 freebies at the charity stripe. The Golden Hawks leading the rebounding department here early, 6-4. Over the season, they're a team that isn't the greatest rebounding team.
Three offensive rebounds in this game, Zach. Unacceptable so far in this game for the Badgers.
Yeah. And they have a negative 8.6 rebounding margin deficit against them, so that's something the Badgers need to take advantage of. As Coulthard no good beyond the arc, but again, Algotti out-muscled and out-jumped for the ball by a much smaller defender.
Algotti caught ball watching there. He's got to find his man and box him out and not look for the ball off that shot. He needs to find a man first.
3-point shot by Coulthard, no good, and Saunders trying to wrestle the ball, and he's just able to poke it free as another Badger is able to pick it up. Badgers looking for their first lead of the night. In their game earlier in the season, the Badgers did not trail at any point. They won that game 91-67, and Nolan McKenzie gives them exactly that, their first lead of the night.
Zach, number 12 on the Laurier Golden Hawks, Matt Chessum, looks like he's playing a bit of a rover there down low. We'll see if he continues to do that as this game wears on.
Saunders, the quick hand, nearly forces the steal. Golden Hawks stick with it with 5 on the shot clock. Chasing the slash, and it doesn't drop, but he's going to go to the line for a couple free throws. But that's number 3, Lewis, on backdoors open. Luckily, the Badgers not giving up 3 points here, or potential 3-point play, as quickly Matt Marshall and Elijah Green will check onto the court for the first time today.
But there is a lack of communication, but there's also a lack of hands, Zach. Mitch Saunders needs to have his hands up that entire time in order to block that passing lane and not even allow Laurier to make that pass to the inside.
Jason's a guy who comes into the season averaging just 25 minutes per game, shooting 43%, but he's really improved his shooting, scoring 13.4 points per game, second on the team, 0.1 more than Luke Allen, who's not active today, brother of former Laurier great Max Allen, who averaged 19 points per game a couple years ago, back when my first year here at the broadcaster for BrockTV, and you are already a veteran here, Justin. But things have changed now, and the Badgers, the favorites to win this game, but so far, Laurier giving them all they can handle, nearly going.
It's certainly been nice coming back as a guest.
Marshall, the shot, no good. Elijah Green, the big rebound, the putback, no good. But Marshall follows it up, and that one falls. And quickly the other way. A violent collision. It's going to be a foul on Nolan McKenzie, and quickly it's going to be the freshman Tyler Brown checking back into the game. He's going to take out Nolan McKenzie. That's going to be the Badgers' second team foul.
Sutter Kenny, Zach, is off to a great start, averaging 7 points per game in the season. This free throw will give him 7 points already. We're in the first quarter here. Guy that only started 6 games on the season. Roger starts tonight, again, in that place that was started by Matovic last time. So it's been a pretty good, impressive player, a guy that's pretty sneaky down low. And doesn't have the size, but is able to still keep up with the guys down in the key.
Zach, the Badgers need to watch themselves in this transition defense. They know that every time they score a basket, Laurier is going to be pushing the paces. An ill-advised turnover there. Kane Annesley unable to secure the basketball there. But going back to that last offensive possession for the Golden Hawks, where they were able to get right up the court and draw that foul right after the Badgers scored, the Laurier Golden Hawks lead the OUA in shot attempts per game. The Badgers need to know that every time the Laurier Golden Hawks are going to try to push the ball, Badgers need to be better in their transition defense.
Tenney, the aggressive take, and he'll draw the foul, and again, he'll head to the line. So, I mean, you just mentioned it, Lewis, or rather Justin, averaging 7 points per game on the season, and he's almost at the double-digit mark. We're still in the first quarter. 1:37 remaining here in the opening quarter. The Badgers up 18-17, but if Tenney can hit both free throws, he'll give the Golden Hawks back the lead. So that'll tie the game up at 18 apiece with 1:37 remaining in the game, as Will Coulthard is going to check back into the game after a quick break. He hasn't been off to the quickest start, just 1 of 5 from the floor today, 2 points, but someone who can get hot at any point in time. Angelini. Simpson from beyond the arc, no good. And a good aggressive rebound by Poland Couillard. The other way, the basketball just sits on the rim, but it's feeling friendly right now for the Golden Hawks, and that one drops, and it's now 20-18. Simpson the other way, an aggressive take, and they're going to say it was an offensive foul, so that's going to be Simpson's first personal, but not a good look right now for the Badgers as they turn it over once again offensively.
And Zach, a good take there by Joniel Simpson. You gotta love the aggression, especially from Simpson, a guy who can tend to sometimes settle for jump shots. You love when he gets aggressive, but a great play by Simon Pulling-Couillard to take that charge perfectly.
Long shot, no good. El Ghazi pulls down the rebound. El Ghazi finished the season as the top rebounder in the OUA with 11.7 a game. And Zach Angelini with a big three-point shot to re-give the Badgers the lead. And we're under 45 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Good move, and El Ghazi with a big stuff, but they're going to say there was a foul. The fans certainly not agreeing with that call. El Ghazi trying to plead his case, but Charles Kissy not showing any emotion. We've seen him get into some trouble, picking up a couple technicals by arguing the calls this season. Wise on him, especially in a playoff game, to stay calm early in the game. Plenty of time later to plead your case.
And Zach, a great effort there by Danny El Ghazi. He was definitely in the restricted area, but he did look like from our angle that he went straight up to block that shot. Obviously the ref saw it a little differently than we did here in the booth, but you gotta love the aggression for Danny El Ghazi, the intimidation factor of Danny El Ghazi. Not only can he block a ton of shots, Zach, but he can also alter a lot of shots as that interior defensive presence.
So Meekry can't hit the free throw, but
Badgers again having trouble securing these defensive rebounds, Zach. Something that is keeping Laurier in the game right now.
So Meekry's going to inbound fresh, 14 seconds on the shot clock. That's Coulthard now with it. He feeds it down low. Pulling-Couillard, no good, and it's going to be corralled on the defensive glass by Matt Marshall, the senior. Bennett, the aggressive take, and he'll draw contact and head to the line with 22.5 seconds. That's just the second team foul on the Golden Hawks in this first quarter. The Badgers already with 5.
The Badgers trying to give Laurier a little taste of their own medicine there. Is good transition offense by Ryan Bennett and this Badger team, getting to the other end and drawing that foul before the defense can set up.
So Bennett able to get both of them to drop, and the Badgers lead this one by 2. It's 23-21 with 22.5 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Lewis, what do you look for here on defense?
Well, Zach, it looks like the Badgers are going with an impulse full court press here as they try to create a turnover.
A light full court press as Coulthard easily able to weave his way through. And again, the Golden Hawks are going to go to the free throw line. And I mean, I don't agree with this play call, Lewis. We've seen it countless times throughout the year. The Badgers have randomly gone to this soft full court press, a laid back full court press, and every time the other teams are seemingly able to easily exploit it, find the open man, and move the basketball to a point where they're either going to get the easy basket or they're going to have a chance to draw to the contact and get to the free throw line, which is exactly what we just saw now.
Well, Zach, when you look at a game like today and you see, and we've seen firsthand, the Badgers have definitely struggled with their transition defense, and when you have the Laurier Golden Hawks setting up with just 20 seconds left, it's going to be a half-court set. So I don't know why the Badgers made a full-court press there.
4 on the clock now. Tyler Brown, 1 on the clock, and he'll dish it off. Gardner at the buzzer, and the senior can't hit. Great defense there by the Golden Hawks, forced the low-percentage shot. And after 1, the Badgers are going to lead this one 23-22, and in a moment, Justin Bregman will be joined alongside one of Laurier coaching staff for an update from the people back in Waterloo. It's going to be James Campbell, and we're going to go ahead and send it live to Justin Bregman right now. Justin, it's all you.
James, how do you think your team has managed the crowd here in the early going?
I think we did a good job. We came out, got a good start early, which we thought we really needed to do. By getting that good start, we were able to get a good run going, good flow, and not let the crowd overwhelm us in the beginning.
Do you feel this is the pace that is better for your team to be playing at this point?
Yeah, I think this is the pace that we are used to playing. We want to get the game into the 80s, into the 90s, and that's where we're comfortable. That's where we think we had the best chance to be successful.
Lastly, a few quick buckets down low for El Ghazi to start. Is there any adjustments you plan to make on him throughout the game?
Yeah, we had a couple of defensive lapses, a couple of mental lapses by some of our guys. When we have those mental lapses, we're not going to be successful defensively. So we got to clean those up. We got to do what we prepared to do all week.
Thanks, James. Best of luck in the rest of the game. Zach, back to you.
Thanks for that, Justin, as we quickly take a look at the stats here in the first quarter. And one thing that I found interesting, Lewis, is the depth that the Badgers have gone to in the first quarter. Charles Kissy electing to use Elijah Green, Kane Annesley, Mitch Saunders, Nate Gardner. We see Nolan McKenzie. We've pretty much seen everybody that we typically see in this first quarter. Are you surprised that they've gone to those depths and haven't relied more heavily on the starters, considering it's a playoff game?
No, not at all, Zach. And we've seen firsthand in that Meridian game, we saw Danny Elgatti played 39 minutes. He played the first 3 quarters of that game at Meridian Center without taking any rest. He played 9 minutes in that fourth quarter against McMaster, and he was great for those first 3 quarters, but you could really tell that burnout was there in the fourth quarter. And I think Charles Kissy realizes that every playoff game is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a close game, and I think that he's realized that he needs to sit some of his guys and keep them refreshed for at least the fourth quarter of this game, because that's the most important time for these teams, late in the fourth quarter. You'd rather have your best players like Elgatti and Simpson fresh rather than have played already 36 minutes and are dead tired.
And we're underway here in the second quarter. For those of you just joining us, Zach Engel, pleased to be joined alongside Lewis Glatt, Justin Bregman, the former great BrockTV play-by-play guy. My former partner in the booth is here helping us on the color. He's patrolling the sidelines, getting some insights and interviews, and it should be a fantastic one. The Badgers currently trail this one by 1, a little closer than expected early, but this is playoff basketball. Anything can happen in the OUA.
Zach, we saw on January the 13th, Brock only led 23-19 against these Golden Hawks after the first quarter. It was really in the second quarter where the Badgers outscored Laurier 20-13, where they took that 10-point lead and really took Laurier out of their game plan. We'll see if the Badgers can continue that second quarter success in this game and extend this lead to double digits to try to get Laurier out of their normal game plan.
Marshall works it low to Bennett, and Bennett's able to finish, and the late call, too, will send him to the line with a chance at a 3-point play. So Ryan Bennett, who was off to a much better start than he was against Laurentian last time they played against his former team. He's dropped 5 points in that first quarter. Now has a chance to extend that to 8, which would tie for the highest on the team with Danny Elgatti at 8.
That's right, Zach, as he hits that free throw. He's now 3 for 3 on free throws in this game, and for the season, Bennett's just 68%, so a nice pleasant surprise to see him perfect so far in this game from the line.
Meekry. Golden Hawks moving the ball around the perimeter, but having trouble getting it in. Coulthard, the spin move. And the floater doesn't drop with the shot clock expiring, but the Golden Hawks again able to pull down the offensive rebound this time. It was Matovich, and he's able to pull down a big rebound over 3 big Badger defenders, and that's unacceptable. And now he's going to go to the free throw line with a couple opportunities.
And Matovich and Chesson, the only 2 players on this Laurier team that are 6'8" and above. Matovich started the last game against the Badgers on January the 13th as the Golden Hawks were trying to play a matchup game, as Matovich struggled mightily in that game, scored just 5 points in 18 minutes. To Marshall. Simpson wide open beyond the arc. Count it! Money Simpson from downtown. Can't leave him open like that. And he makes the Laurier Golden Hawks pay there. Great look there by Joe Neal Simpson, but a better find by Tyler Brown. Looks like the refs may have missed a potential carry there on Tyler Brown late in that play.
Meekry trying to feed it down low to Chason, but Elgatti all over that, and they're going to say it's off the Golden Hawks. So you put in a little effort on the defensive end, guys, and all of a sudden the ball starts going your way. And that time you see that's a big break for the Badgers, and the Badgers are going to take a timeout quickly to try and talk things out here.
It's already Elgatti's second steal of the game. He's got 5 rebounds. He's shooting 4 or 5 from the field. He's really coming out and being the guy they need him to be so far.
And Justin, not only that, it's what Danny Elgatti brings to the table, not only now, but we need him fresh in that fourth quarter, and it's been a great sight to see Charles Kissy sit him early on in this game and keep him as fresh as possible for the stretch run.
Now, Justin, I asked Lewis this question while you were doing your interview. I'll ask you now. In the first quarter, I mean, looking at the stats, you see some of the guys that they've played: Mitch Saunders, Kane Annesley, Nate Gardner, Elijah Green. We've seen Zach Angelini. I mean, we've pretty much seen everybody who plays already in that first quarter. Are you surprised by the depth that Charles Kissie's deployed early in this game, and such a crucial game, obviously, as being in playoffs?
I am. I mean, you look about it here, you've got 11 deep already in this game. But the biggest thing that we talked about in the pregame is the fact that Charles Kissie has his depth. You saw Tyler Brown turn over the ball, and in 1 second, out comes Nate Gardner. Then if he doesn't, not have with him, well, you got Nolan McKenzie. You've got a ton of depth. Things that you have not had in past years, where if somebody's not on their game tonight, you have the ability to still win the game with guys on the bench.
Now, Lewis, you mentioned this last game. Danny Elgatti at the Meridian Center was automatic. He was on fire, but consequently, by him taking so many shots and being so good, other Badgers got cold. Do you think that's been the counter effect? Do you think that's part of Kissie's plan right now, try and spread the wealth around?
Well, I think that you've seen Daniel Gotti, and you've seen him a little differently. He's been passing the ball much more than he was in that Meridian game, and I think that really helps the team more when he obviously starts as being aggressive, but that he takes on that secondary role as facilitator and takes those double teams and doesn't necessarily draw fouls and go to the free throw line, but find open teammates to keep them, not only give them opportunities, but to keep them warm and in rhythm so that they can contribute for the entirety of this game.
So after review, it appears as though they've changed the call. It's going to be Laurier basketball, but to the Badgers, or rather the pro to that is there's only 1 second on the shot clock, so the Badgers doing everything to lock it down. With the Golden Hawks still able to get a shot, guys. Luckily, it doesn't fall, and the Badgers pulled down a defensive rebound, but that was nearly a disaster.
Not only that, that's a very poor miscommunication there by the Badgers. There should not be a clean catch and shoot with that much time left on the shot clock.
Tyler Brown into some taller players, and it's swatted away. Meekry the other way. He's being guarded by Bennett. Now Chason. Back to Meekry. Looking for the pick and roll to Coulthard. It wasn't there. He'll take it himself. And it's just too strong off the glasses. Now Gotti can't pull down the defensive rebound. That's been a huge issue all season long. And today, the Badgers don't look eager at all to pull down the defensive rebound. I mean, this is playoff basketball. You got to be diving for those basketballs.
It's an effort thing, Zach. That's all it is. Defensive rebounding, it's strategy mainly. But the majority of it has got to be effort.
Marshall. He goes with the right hand. It's no good. Good defense there by Chason. And now it's going to be Meekry the other way. Shot no good by Thomas. Elgatti this time able to get the rebound. Simpson the other way into traffic. We'll head to the line for a couple opportunities to extend this lead. They currently lead it by 5. It's 29-24 with 6:55 to go in this first half.
Great play there by Tyler Brown, pushing the basketball, keeping his head up, not dribbling into pressure, which we've seen. We've seen him dribble into a couple of double teams in this game and turn the ball over. But a great find by him on the fast break, keeping his head up, finding Joniel Simpson to get to the line for 2 shots.
So he's able to hit both free throws. Chason. He's being worked down low. May have moved that pivot foot. No call. He gets his own rebound. Meekry beyond the arc, and it's again no good. And this time, Simpson rips down the rebound. That's what you like to see there.
And the Badgers lucky to get out of that possession unscathed.
Ryan Bennett, the three-point specialist, with another big three-pointer. The Badgers' third of the night. That's going to extend the lead to double digits, guys. And I mean, the way that the Badgers have been playing, the fact that they're up by double digits, that's great news heading forward, because I don't think they played great.
This is exactly what assistant head coach James Campbell was saying about his Laurier team, is that in that game on January the 13th, they faced just a 4-point deficit after the first quarter, but things got away from them in that second quarter, and Laurier faced a double-digit halftime deficit, and because of that, they were forced out of their game plan. They were forced to try to push the ball when they really didn't want to. The Badgers can maintain this double-digit lead heading into half. Watch for the Golden Hawks to potentially unravel like they did on that January 13th game.
Zach, Laurier without a field goal now in over 5 minutes.
Yeah, an 11-2 run right now for the Badgers as well. So Laurier looking to get something going, and perhaps a trip to the free throw line will help that out. But again, that's not going to help the field goal category.
A late call there by the referee, but the right call there is Tyler Brown. His forearm did make contact with the head of number 2, Simon Mikre.
And fouls have been an issue for the Badgers already. They sent the Golden Hawks in the bonus in that first quarter. They're well on their way once again with 3 team fouls with just under 6 minutes to go. And even more concerning is Joniel Simpson already has 2 fouls. By keeping him out there right now, he picks up 1 more foul. That's going to complicate the rotation in the second half. I think right now, up by 8 points, you may have a chance now to get Joniel Simpson a rest, get Zach Angelini out there. He's fresh. And make sure Joniel Simpson has plenty of fouls to work with in that second half. We'll see if Charles Kissy does just that. Right now, it doesn't appear to be the case. Simpson off to El Ghazi. El Ghazi controls the basketball, gets into position, and again finishes down low. I think it's safe to say that slump is long gone now, especially after that game at the Meridian Center. Success in Guelph, and now today carrying it over. Coulthard trying to get the Golden Hawks out of slump, can't do it. McKenzie the other way. He stops. Simpson wide open beyond the arc. It's short. And Mikre pulls down the defensive rebound.
Zach, better transition defense by the Badgers on these last couple of possessions as the Golden Hawks seem to be stifled now that they have to be playing half-court offense.
Number 5, Sidney Davis. He replaces number 2, Simon Mikre.
Badger fan, I'm always looking for someone from the half-court shot.
Davis, he drops it off for Coulthard. Coulthard. He drops it off for Thomas. 4 on the shot clock. Thomas being guarded by Angelini, the fade back, and he's able to kiss it off the glass with a second left on the shot clock. Good defense there by Angelini, but a nice shot there.
Well, better offense is always going to be better defense, but great defense there by the Badgers, forcing the Golden Hawks into isolation basketball. The Badgers can continue to consistently do that. The results will definitely improve, as you're not going to see a bunch of bank shot fadeaways consistently going for this Laurier team.
McKenzie fires, no good. And Simpson able to tip it up in a big basket there to extend the lead back to double digits. Give Joniel Simpson 7 points. Tenney. The drop off to Coulthard. Again, no good. He struggled a ton in this game. Now the breakaway pass. Simpson take flight. And Simpson with a huge slam. The crowd absolutely loves it. Lewis, we've seen how many dunks over the last 2 games? This is unbelievable.
8 dunks in the last 3 games. Like, unbelievable. I've been here for 2 years, and other than these 3 games, I haven't seen any dunks. Unbelievable atmosphere here at the Bob Davis Gymnasium. Badgers lead by 12 points, Zach. Things starting to unravel for the Golden Hawks as head coach Peter Campbell tries to stop this momentum with this timeout.
And Will Coulthard, who last season in the playoffs against Western in the big upset dropped 34 points on 11 of 20 shooting, was spectacular and is so instrumental in getting this team, getting them really into the second round of the playoffs. They obviously lost to the Ryerson Rams in that game. But Will Coulthard today struggling mightily. Just 1 of 9 from the floor, 0 for 5 from downtown, just 2 points. And it's no surprise that the Golden Hawks trail by 12 points right now.
Yeah, that's right, Zach. If the Badgers can continue to keep him off the score sheet or continue to force him to shoot a very low percentage, I mean, he's the guy that he's their leading scorer, nearly 18 points per game. I mean, if you can even limit him to 18 points, but get him to shoot under 40%, something like that, that's got to be a success for the Badgers. And I mean, I spoke to head coach Charles Kissy before this game, and he told me that when you run into a guy like Will Coulthard, a guy that can score on demand in any moment, any time of the game, it has to be a team effort. There really isn't 1 or 2 guys that you're going to consistently throw at him and expect them to get great results. It's got to be a team effort. It's got to be hedging out on screens, helping out on defense, communicating when he beats his man off the dribble to make sure he doesn't get to the line or get an easy basket. So far, the Badgers' team defense on Coulthard has been great, but in general, the team defense, the effort level hasn't been there. They start to pick it up in the second quarter, but they're going to need that high energy level for the entirety of this game. They can't have it in spurts like they've had so far.
Zach, I was just listening on head coach Peter Campbell, Laurier Golden Hawks, and listening in on the huddle. And I can only tell you a little bit of the information because some of it is not appropriate for TV. But basically, he said, we knew this wasn't going to be easy. We knew we were in tough, not just because of the team we're playing, but because of the fan base that they have. But the big thing he said that they want to change here is they want to use dribble penetration. They want to try to start kicking the ball out to Will Coulthard on the threes. So look out for that now down the stretch here of the first half.
And that could definitely happen, Justin. I mean, we've seen a ton of dribble penetration for this Laurier team in terms of forcing the Badgers to foul them and then getting to the free throw line. But some backdoor cuts we saw early on in this game, some defensive miscommunications for the Badgers early on in this game. So it's going to be important for the Badgers to communicate much better, help out on defense, hedge on screens, not only on Coulthard, Zach, but for every screen that occurs, there needs to be hedging, there needs to be helping, there needs to be constant communication so that this Laurier team doesn't get as many open shots as they've gotten, especially in that first quarter.
Second free throw, no good. El Ghazi pulls down the rebound. Score still a 12-point lead for the Badgers. Gardner's back out there, as is Simpson, who has 2 personal fouls. Gardner looking for some space. 7 on the shot clock. Angelini with a hand in his face, no good. And now the Golden Hawks will have a chance to finally get that field goal, Justin, that they've been looking for now upwards of 6 minutes. Pass down low to Chason. He nearly gets it stolen. Good quick hands by Nolan McKenzie. Thomas from downtown, and that's going to do it for the Golden Hawks. Finally get back on the board in terms of field goals, and that's a big 3-point shot to bring the deficit back to single digits.
And I love the timeout call by Charles Kissy. Don't let them come over that. Stop the bleeding where it's at. The Badgers now still lead by 9, but that's the dribble penetration that I just was talking about. You saw it right there. And that quiet the down down here quite a bit.
Well, not only that, there's still defensive miscommunications. The Badgers still, another wide open 3-point opportunity. The Badgers, the communication still isn't on par yet as Charles Kissy tries to discuss some strategy with his team to try to shore up those defensive miscommunications.
And as we have an update, we have a final in Guelph, the final ever game at the W.F. Mitchell Center. The Brock Badgers women's team, their season has officially come to an end. They lose the game 69-51. They were without senior Katie Harper and impressive sophomore guard Melissa Taddy, and that's going to signal the end of the road for a ton of legendary Badger seniors in Kayla Santilli, Becky Ralph, Katie Harper, Jenna Hummel, the all-time leader in assists in Brock University history for the women, and Dana Howlett. Let's quickly just talk about them before we get back into the action here. What type of legacy are they going to leave, and what's going to be left for Cy Kumbaseth next year?
Certainly want to congratulate all those seniors. They were an excellent job and they made an excellent part to this program. If you flip all the way back to the days where they were rookies, when Nicole Rosencrantz was the starter, that was the promising future. When you had Rosencrantz going into that senior year with all these people going into their sophomore season, it would have been. Now, of course, we know Rosencrantz didn't enter that senior year here at Brock. And now to see all these girls, the core of their team, the starting lineup for their team, that now done in their senior year, it doesn't look like it's going to be too promising for next year. It's going to be a rebuilding process. It's certainly going to be a rookie season. There's certainly going to be a lot of pressure on Cy Kumbaseth to bring in a great rookie class, a great recruiting class, and to build for the future, because it's important for that women's team to get back on top, get back to a ranked team like they were just a few years ago.
We'll get back to the women's team in just a little bit. Let's get back to the action, though, right now as the Badgers lead by 9 with just under 3 minutes remaining. Coulthard the shot. Again, it doesn't drop, and he's really struggled from the floor. Gardner the other way, and he's able to get it to drop off the glass. The senior trying to make an impact here in what's likely his final home game as a Brock Badger.
And Zach, let me tell you one thing. It may be 8:41 in the evening, but the bank is still open as Nate Gardner with a beautiful shot down the middle there. Nice dribble drive penetration and finish from Gardner.
What's he banking on? Must be TD, 24 hours. We'll see if he can keep it going all night long, but certainly a good sign if Nate Gardner's going to add to the offensive array here by the Badgers. Thomas. 3-point shot, nearly swatted by El Ghazi, no good. And Simpson, who averages 6.3 per game in the regular season, pulls down another big rebound here.
And Zach, there's a huge play that's not going to go in the score sheet for Daniel Gotti, but it's a huge impact what he does in terms of altering shots, not necessarily blocking them and racking up statistics, but altering shots and forcing misses from the opposition.
Coulthard's going to try and establish the play here. He's being guarded by El Gotti. Pass nearly intercepted. And Matovic unable to hit, but again, the Golden Hawks get another chance. Coulthard again, and this time he's able to finish. And again, it always seems to come when the Laurier Golden Hawks get that second and third chance effort.
It's ball watching, Zach. When the shot goes up, the Badgers need to realize that they can't look for the basketball. They need to look for someone on the opposition before they go look for the basketball. Badgers unable to do that so far in this game. Is an unfortunate turnover call there for Daniel Gotti, called for a travel.
1:18 to go here in the first half. The Badgers lead by 8. It's number 6 seed in the OUA playoffs against the number 11. Winner earns a date on Saturday in Carleton. Coulthard. Now he's being guarded by Marshall. The mismatch, he takes advantage of it. Some contact, no call. And it's going to be the Badgers quickly the other way. Simpson. And they're going to get a push, but they're not going to count the basket. Good call there by the referees. Shot came obviously late after the whistle. But if you're going to want to send somebody to the line, it's going to be Joe Neal Simpson. Leads the team at 80%. And he's the guy who's been perfect so far today.
So far, for almost 20 minutes of basketball, the Badgers have done a great job on Will Coulthard. You can tell the defense and the focus, all week of practice was on him. He's their main guy. He's been their main guy for multiple years here in the program at Laurier. And just 2 points so far for almost 20 minutes.
Let's just go back to the women's team here and close out that chapter here. Obviously a legendary team, a legendary group of seniors. I mean, we've been doing this for 3 years now, and we've got to see Katie Harper grow. But Lewis, you've only been here for 1 year. Last year you were here doing sparring work for the basketball program, and now being here for the whole season long, you've got a chance to really see these seniors at a prominent role, leadership role. Do you think that the next crop, the next leaders, the Kira Cornelsons, the Melissa Taddys, the Aaron Finleys are ready to lead this Brock Badger team and mentor the future Badgers?
Oh, I really do, Zach. I think Kira Cornelison has asserted herself as one of the best, if not the best player on this team. What she can do, she can stretch the floor, shoot that long 2, jump shot when it's available to her. She's good from the free throw line. She's got great fundamentals, good footwork down low, has a pretty solid post game. So you partner her up with a pretty dominant point guard, and Melissa Taddy able to facilitate the basketball, push the ball up the court. I really like the cornerstones that this team has going forward. Now it's going to be up to head coach Cy Kuvaset and the rest of his coaching staff to surround the team with quality shooting. To stretch the floor, Kayla Santilli's going to be a huge hole to fill. She's averaging over 10 points per game. Katie Harper's averaging 10 points per game, close to 10 rebounds per game as well. So the Badgers really need one more solid to dominant big man and someone that can stretch the floor. And I think if they can get those 2 pieces, the rest of it will fall into place with the solid role players that they've had this year with the Bailey Campbells, the Alex Simons, Chrissy Sirignano. I expect to step into a much bigger role next year in terms of scoring the basketball.
Certainly going to be an interesting transition period for the women's team, but the men still hoping to keep their season alive. They currently lead by 8 against the Golden Hawks. Under 40 seconds to go in the first half, and it's going to be another turnover for El Gotti and the Badgers.
Unfortunate. El Gotti going for that skip pass, but the ball caught the bottom of the net there, which slowed it down and allowed Laurier to get that steal and turnover.
Garrison Thomas. He drops it off for Paulin Couillard. And now it's going to be another foul, no basket.
Zach,
that's going to send the Golden Hawks to the line.
I want to know why Matty Marshall is playing his man so close above the three-point line. I mean, Simon Poulenc-Couillard not known as a three-point shooter with this team. In fact, he hasn't taken any three-pointers this season. He's 0 for 0 on the season. Literally hasn't taken a three-pointer. So if you're Matt Marshall, you need to give some space to your defender, force him to shoot over the top before you play up close and allow him to blow by you with a dribble drive opportunity. Matt Marshall with a bit of an ill-advised defensive play there. He needs to give his offensive player a little more space, someone who hasn't proven anything as a three-point shooter. You know, a play like that, Zach, really slows down the momentum. The Badgers were pushing the ball up and down the court. The flow, they were in rhythm, and when you allow the other team to slow the game down, stop the clock, and get a couple of points on the board, it really kills all the momentum that you had going for you.
Shot clock turned off. This should be the final possession of the first half. The Badgers lead by 7. McKenzie, 4 on the clock now. To Connors. Connors, the shot at the buzzer, and it's no good. Some contact. Again, no call though, and after 2 quarters of play, the Badgers lead this one 42-35, a little closer than some may have expected, but this is playoff basketball. If you didn't think the Golden Hawks were going to come to play, you're mistaken. And we've got a game on our hands. It's going to be an interesting second half as we're just getting set for Justin Bregman to be joined alongside Ryan Bennett. Appears as though he's set, so we're going to go ahead and send it now to Justin Bregman, who is with Ryan Bennett. Justin?
Ryan, you guys lead at halftime. How would you assess your performance so far tonight? 11 points. Did you feel a little bit of an edge to come out and play strong in the early going, coming into the playoff game?
Just hitting shots. We got to come out to play. We're executing. We got to hit shots. We got to defend better right now. We're giving up too many points, but we just came hungry, you know?
How do you feel the crowd has gotten on your side here in the early going?
The crowd gets us exciting. Anytime they make a run, the crowd gets us right back into it and fired up, so it's good.
Ryan, you beat these guys by 24 last time. Obviously a much closer game so far. How do you guys buckle down defensively in the second half?
We just got to remember the game plan from last game, and just everyone's got to communicate and do their job, and we'll be fine.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
Zach, back to you.
Thanks for that, Lewis. We'll take a quick break and return in just a few moments. And when we return, we'll have 3 in the key with our man, Matt Anderson. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Badgers Den Live right here on OUA TV.
playoff performer normally in the past, but so far not tonight.
Yeah, he's shooting 10 of 11 from the field. He's shooting 1 of 5 from the three-point line, not getting it done. If Laurier wants to come back here, Will Coulthard is going to have to get in there, and he's going to have to make the shots.
The next one we got to talk about is that drought. The Golden Hawks was only down 1 point after the first quarter, but then they went in this huge drought. It seemed like more than 6 minutes without a field goal, but yet they're still in this basketball game.
Yep, 6.5 minutes, didn't have 1 point. They're only 7 points down, though, which shows how much they could do here at the end of the second quarter. In the first quarter, they just got it done all around that drought, but that drought is a little bit of a concern right now, especially if they have that happen again to them.
Okay, so the Badgers defense obviously had to step up in the second half. As for their offense, though, 42 points in the first half, and it was led by the big three of Danielle Gotti, Ryan Bennett, and Jonelle Simpson.
Yeah, they had 34 points. They were 13 and 20 from the field. They were 5 of 5 from the three-point line, so those two are getting it done, and those are the three that they need to be hot if they want to win this game.
All right, Zach, the Badgers lead by 7 at halftime, 42-35. That was Matt Anderson with 3 in the key. Let's send it back to you.
Thanks for that, guys, and we're just about a couple minutes away now from the start of the second half. The Badgers lead this one by 7. It's 42-35. Again, if you're just joining us, the Brock women's team who were playing in Guelph today to open up their season, the Critelli Cup run, recently named Critelli Cup. They did fall to the hands of the Guelph Griffins, though, and are eliminated. That means that's the end of an illustrious career for a lot of those senior Badgers, including Jenny Umel, Kayla Santilli, Dana Howlett, Becky Ralph, and Kate Harper. So tough end of the season there, but as we transition back into the men's game, it's a lot closer than we expected, Lewis. I mean, the Golden Hawks last time they played nearly lost by 30 points. Right now they've been playing tight. They didn't have a lead in that first game earlier back in early January. Now they had the lead for much of the first quarter. What do you expect in the second half?
Zach, let's give a ton of credit to Laurier and their defense there in that second quarter, limiting the Badgers to just 19 points. But what was so impressive that Laurier Golden Hawks are still in this game is the fact that they didn't score a field goal for a 6.5-minute stretch at the end of that first quarter, deep into that second quarter. And the Badgers weren't able to take advantage of that as they only have a 7-point lead at halftime. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Badgers do defensively. Do they continue to play good team defense and really shore up that defensive glass? As we saw the Laurier Golden Hawks feast on some offensive rebounds early on in this game to allow them to score some second chance opportunities. They had 2 wide open three-point makes off of offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities. So the Badgers need to limit that. And I mean, if the Badgers are able to stop both of those occurrences from happening, they've got a double-digit lead in the second quarter. So little plays that can have big outcomes, such as an offensive rebound here and a given up three-pointer after that offensive rebound. I mean, that could be a huge point swing if you have that happening multiple times, which it did to the Badgers in the first half.
And as we take a look at some of these numbers as well, one of the keys that you mentioned in the early going was rebounding. The Badgers were playing against a team who's last in the OUA in rebounding margins per game at negative 8.3, meaning they give up over 8 rebounds per game, more than they get. But in the early going, I mean, you look at the offensive glass, Brock with just 3 offensive rebounds to 10 from Laurier. That's a big problem, and considering the fact that Laurier scored on almost every single one of those second and third chance efforts, this game could have been out of reach right now for the Badgers, but instead they've kept fighting. The total rebounds are a little closer, as the Badgers have been able to pull down some defensive rebounds, but again, it comes down to those shots. A lot more shots become a lot more opportunities to pull down defensive rebounds. The positive, though, for the Badgers is that they did shoot just under 52% in that first half, and if they keep that up, it should be over.
Defense is going to be tough for Matt Marshall to be aggressive on defense here to start the third quarter. 3 personal fouls already for him. So look out for that and keep an eye on it, because 1 foul here early in the third quarter, and you won't see him until likely 5 or less minutes to go in the fourth.
I was expecting a big game from Matt Marshall myself, guys. I talked about it as him being the X factor in this game, and so far really hasn't been able to get it going defensively. He's been playing much too aggressive. He should be giving his man more space, forcing his man to shoot over him over the top before he starts playing much closer up on him. But Zach, let's go back to the offensive rebounds. I mean, 10 offensive rebounds for Laurier in that first half. They averaged 13.2 for the season, good for third in the OUA, but they're on pace to get 20 offensive rebounds. The Badgers can't have that happen to them in this game.
Quickly to start the game, rather the second half, it starts the same way the game started, a quick basket for the Golden Hawks. We'll see if the Badgers can up their intensity. They did struggle in those first few minutes. They did settle down, but again, they're going to have to play with energy and effort on the defensive end, especially. The points will come, as we know, one of the best offenses in Canada, but their defense still a question mark.
And Zach, what makes this team so lethal and what gets the crowd really into these games is the fact that when they create defensive stops and that leads to baskets at the other end, that's what really gets the crowd into this game. So the Badgers, they're at home. They have the luxury of having this crowd. As a nice move by Chase, and back-to-back solid post moves for him to start the second half. 4 points for him. And they're really going to need him down the stretch in this game if they want to win this one. He's the only presence on the team that can play meaningful minutes that's over 6'8".
Simpson can't get the shot to drop, but a good effort there by Bennett, and the Badgers get just their 4th offensive rebound of the day. Let's see if the Badgers can make the most of this. Bennett, aggressive move, and the friendly bounce doesn't happen for the Badgers, and El Ghazi all over there trying to pull down the rebound. Coulthard comes up with it, but already you can see the effort improving in this second half. I'm sure Kissy made it one of his main points to talk about in the break.
And the 3rd straight move for Chesson now, as Daniel Gotti falls for that pump fake. Chesson, nice poise and composure to take that contact in the lane and finish it.
He had just 1 field goal in the first half. He's already got 2 quickly in this 3rd quarter, but a nice pass to Bennett, and he can't hit the wide open layup. Tough miss there, but the other way. Daniel Gotti says, get out of here. A huge block. The ball doesn't go out of bounds. Brown all the way, and again, they can't hit the easy basket, and Tyler Brown didn't really look into control. I mean, we've seen him at times play. He plays quick, but sometimes he plays even too quick for his standards, and there again, you see him completely out of control, and that was a waste of a possession. Badgers should have slowed it down.
Chesson, a 5-0 run of his own, has made this a tie game, Zach, here. Just over 2 minutes into the quarter.
Unbelievable. I mean, they just opened up this quarter with a 7-point lead. They were leading it by as much as 12, 40-28. It's now 44-44. The Badgers have gone cold. Their defense, and their interior defense specifically, is lacking. And their effort and their energy needs to be raised. This is playoff basketball, guys.
And the Laurier Golden Hawks really benefited from halftime coming when it did, as the Badgers seem to be seizing a little bit of momentum heading into halftime, but coming out in this one, the crowd hasn't been as loud as it has been for this game, as the Laurier Golden Hawks open the scoring in this second half. I mean, they're on a 13-3 run a 10-3 run to tie up this game, as they've taken the crowd completely out of it, Zach, by not only executing on offense, but executing on defense as well, and not allowing this Brock crowd to get into the game.
Just about set here to return to the action. We've got a game on our hands here, and we want to welcome all our viewers tuning in across Ontario, across Canada, as we're underway here in the Wilson Cup playoffs. Obviously, a lot of implications on who's going to be playing what on Saturday. We'll try and get you up to date on out-of-town scores currently going on in the OUA. Right now, of course, the winner of this game will earn a trip against the number 3 ranked in the OUA Carleton Ravens. That game, of course, will go down on Saturday. They're going to say that last touch the Badgers, so it's going to be another miss and no second chance effort for Brock, and Laurier's going to have another chance to get it going.
Zach, doesn't look like the Badgers are feeding the ball as much to Daniel Gotti as they were in that first half. The offense needs to run through him, whether he forces up a shot or goes into the lane and kicks it out to a teammate. He needs to be touching the ball in every one of these possessions that he's on the court for. Angelini to Simpson, and he's able to finish with the right hand over Mikri. A good move there, and gives the Badgers the lead once again. Good find there by Angelini, and good elevation by Simpson to get up and above the defense and put it home. Tenney no good. Brown pushing the pace. Simpson working on Mikri. He goes up, it's no good. Marshall follows, and he's able to put it back, and that's what the Badgers need to do, get those second chance effort and capitalize when those opportunities arise. And Matt Marshall's been great all season at doing that, and there you see it again. 5 offensive rebounds in Matt Marshall's last game against these Golden Hawks on January 13th. Wide open, though, behind the arc was Garrison Thomas, and he makes them pay.
And the other way, an ill-advised pass to Matt Marshall. Trying to find the tight end going down on the flat. Throw a little too powerful out of bounds.
Not a bad look there by Tyler Brown, but just the pass a little bit too far as Matt Marshall cleanly beat Chesson on the fast break.
Chasen to Tenney. 5 on the shot clock. Tenney a little shake and bake. Pass out to Coulthard, and he can't hit. It's too strong. A lot of contact, no foul. I thought the Badgers were going to get called there. A lot of contact on Tenney. They nearly cough it up, and Gotti saves it. Simpson the floater, and he gets it to drop. What a move.
And give all the credit in the world, Zach, to Daniel Gotti in that play, diving to the floor, getting that loose ball, and finding his teammate for the good look down low.
Coulthard again from three-point land, and he hits it, plus the foul. Will Coulthard, and he's going to have a chance for a rare 4-point play. And the fans absolutely livid right now at that call.
Tyler Brown, again, a little bit too aggressive on that play, like we've seen in these past couple games. We've seen him in stretches play too aggressive defense, and we saw that Meridian Center game, Zach, the Brock Badgers had 2 fouls on 3-point attempts for the McMaster Marauders. Another one here. I mean, plays like this when you seem to try to be seizing momentum, I mean, this can be a backbreaker for you. Especially, Zach, when Coulthard has been pretty cold all game long, really hasn't hit any shots consistently. So if you're Tyler Brown, it's great to contest that shot, but not enough to warrant a foul.
Now Gotti's going to get pushed out of bounds by Chason, and Chason's there to offer a hand up, but a little awkward exchange, and now Chason's going to have some words with Joniel Simpson.
Simpson are going back and forth, and a couple of plays ago when Simpson got that pass from Daniel Gotti and finished above Chesson, there was some contact there, and there was some verbal excitement, I would say, from Joniel Simpson as he had some choice words for Chesson after he made that basket. And we'll see if that throws him off his game. He needs to stay under control. It's great to get fired up and be excited, but you've got to be able to maintain your control and composure.
Now Gotti with the contact. And the rim hasn't been friendly to the Badgers at all tonight. But El Gotti will go to the line with 2 free throws and a chance to retake this lead. And Lewis, I mean, this is starting to bring that feel of that Laurentian game where the Badgers were nearly going to be upset. They managed to have a huge fourth quarter. They outscored the Laurentian by 12 points, 21-9 to force overtime. They end up winning by 4, 70-66. And that would have been a huge upset. But today we're playing another team, as we mentioned in the intro.
It all starts at the defensive end, Zach, and I mean, in this quarter alone, there's been a ton of dribble drive penetration for the Golden Hawks, which has opened up a ton of open shot opportunities for them on the perimeter. The Badgers, the defense just hasn't been there on a consistent basis this game rather. Is another miscommunication, another easy layup for the Golden Hawks down low to one of their shortest players on the court, mind you.
And Chason's taking over the game right now for the Golden Hawks. El Gotti, a nice move. Able to finish with the right hand reverse. And the Badgers have a 1-point lead right now with under 5 to go in this third quarter.
Zach, you can't keep trading buckets with this team, though. This team is not afraid to shoot the ball. They lead the league in attempts. They've already attempted 17 three-pointers in the game. You have to get stops down the stretch.
Coulthard, a nifty move, and now they're going to get a call on Angelini. And again, the crowd letting these refs hear it. We've certainly heard the Boo Birds throughout the season, but I mean, we haven't heard them this loud right now. Obviously a playoff game, but I mean, a lot of armchair referees here in the Bob Davis Gymnasium right now, but there's a reason why these referees are paid to call these games, and I'm going to agree with that call there. Certainly contact. 3-point shot by Thomas, no good. The save goes right to McKenzie. Now the Badgers will come the other way. Simpson. El Gotti. A fade, and he gets it to hit the 10-footer. A big move by the big man out of Waterloo, Ontario. And now the Badgers are going to get the ball again as an ill-advised pass coming from the Golden Hawks. Goes off the fingertips of Coulthard, and And now this may be the moment the Badgers are able to take over the game again. The crowd is behind them again.
Exactly like I was alluding to earlier, Zach. When you get these defensive stops, that's what gets the crowd into these types of games.
El Gotti the move, and it doesn't fall. But there's the effort by Bennett to pull down the offensive rebound. Gardner now with it. 8 on the shot clock. Simpson fires, and again it rattles around the rim and doesn't drop.
And a good look there by Joniel Simpson.
The other way, El Gotti thinking dunk, tried the layup, and Simpson unable to hit the layup, and that's just embarrassing basketball right now as the Badgers now turn it off. It's a lot of sloppy play right there by the Badgers. And I know El Gotti wants to bring this crowd to their feet even more, but in a playoff game where you're up just 3 points in the third quarter, you got to get that basket, and if you're Joniel Simpson, you got to be able to put back that second effort. That was some ugly basketball right now, and things have got to shore up if you're the Brock Badgers. You've been nationally ranked all year. You're playing against a team that has 8 wins. They got their 9th because of a forfeit win. It's time to start seeing the Brock Badgers play like the team we know.
Yeah, that's right, Zach. In a game of this magnitude, when it's so close, I mean, we saw it in that McMaster game. It was very close. Daniel Gotti had a semi-breakaway, basically, from the foul line. He missed a dunk in that game. Again, missed a dunk on layup, whatever you want to call it. It looked like he was going for a dunk, changed his mind in midair, ended up blowing that layup. And again, it just, when you go down the stretch of these games, and if you lose potentially by 2 points or 3 points or something like that, you can look back at a play like that and say, like, wow, if we were able to just convert that easy basket, I mean, it could have changed the outcome of this game so drastically.
And if you're wondering about our reaction right there, we're currently been having a half-court shot for $1,000 all season long. No one's been able to hit it. That was the closest shot by far, just hit the front rim and bounced out. Rumor is one of us may be heading down to the court to take a shot. Hasn't been confirmed, but if that's the case, a lot of pressure. Zach, what are you guys?
Zach, let's look at this Laurier team for a second and give them a ton of credit with the effort that they've brought in this one on both the offensive and defensive end. I mean, they're 9-11 this season. 7 of those 9 wins have come against teams with a combined record of 18-79. Good for a .228 win percentage. But you would have no idea about the record of their opponents in this one, as the Badgers 13-6. Laurier giving them all they can handle on both ends of the court.
And if there's an interesting note, the only win against a team over 500 for this team, the Laurier Golden Hawks, was against the Western Mustangs, the same team that beat the Brock Badgers here on President's Night in front of a sellout gym.
The OUA has that attitude, that any given Sunday attitude, that any team can win on any given day. Especially when you couple the fact that 5-15 Algoma beat Western in London as well.
A lot of parity in this league, especially these days. Starting to look a lot more like men's hockey in terms of the closeness, and I mean, we're seeing it again right here with this Laurier Golden Hawk team. Not fazed by the big crowd, not fazed by playing a nationally ranked team, and I mean, they've played exceptionally well. They haven't been playing their best basketball, but they've been taking advantage of the Badgers' lackluster hustle on the defensive end, and I mean, the Badgers have been turning it over a little too much. McKenzie. Now El Gotti, some contact, and it drops. Count it, plus the foul from Danny El Gotti. That's a big basket. And he'll go to the line with 77% free throw shooter on the season. We'll look to make it a 3-point play.
That's right, Zach. Anytime Daniel Gotti doesn't see a double or triple team, he's going to take that ball to the basket every time and either convert or draw the foul.
And we're going to get a substitution as Vlad Matovic is going to check out, and taking him in is going to be Simon Polan-Couillard.
Head coach Peter Campbell just trying to find some sort of match, or trying to find anyone that can body up El Gotti.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Thomas. Polan-Couillard. Now Mikri. Mikri, no good. The second chance, no good. And it's pulled down by Nate Gardner. El Gotti. saw the mismatch by Poland Couillard, and they're going to get the foul.
His first move right now is too quick. The Golden Hawks cannot defend it. All they can simply do is foul or stop the play.
Golden Hawks need to give him some space and try to force him to shoot those three-point opportunities, something that he hasn't been adept at all season long. But when they play up close on him, Daniel Gotti's first step, he's blowing right by them every time.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it. He's only averaging 0.8 three-point attempts a game, so not even one per game. If you're not going to double team El Gotti down low, you better force him for the perimeter. And right now, El Gotti is just going to work. McKenzie, he's blocked by Coulter. Great defense.
Not a good look at all for the Brock Badgers. Daniel Gotti having his way on offense. You got to find the ball and find him and give him the basketball in this situation.
Poland Couillard pulls down the offensive rebound. Coulter, the three-point shot, it's short. And for the second straight play, it's the point guard pulling down the big defensive rebound. We're going to have Marshall checking back into the game. Tyler Brown is going to take out, I believe, Nate Gardner, but we'll have to see. And also going to come back in is Zach Angelini.
Substitution checking into the game for the Badgers, number 15, Zach Angelini.
Coulthard, he's really struggled. Still today, he's just 3 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 12 from beyond the arc.
But you got to be impressed, Zach. I mean, their best scorer, a guy who scores 17.8 points per game. I mean, he's held nearly scores 3 for 17, and the team still only down by 5 points.
I was going to say, I mean, imagine if he was having a typical Will Coulthard day. This could have been ugly for the Badgers. As Tyler Brown takes out Nolan McKenzie, the lead back up to 6 points for the Badgers with 1:40 to go. Meekry, three-point shot. Again, rattles around the rim, no good, and elevating the pull down the rebound is Nate Gardner, who's had himself quite a game. Brown, the nice pass, and Marshall's able to finish in close. And the fans standing in approval right now. The Badgers got to go on a run right now. The crowd is ready to erupt.
That's right, Zach. An 8-point lead with 1:13 to go. It's going to be important for the Badgers. Keep the Golden Hawks at bay. Try to get this lead to 10 points and try to get Laurier out of rhythm in the fourth quarter.
Poland Couillard, and they're going to say it's an offensive foul. And it's going to be Brock basketball.
Head coach Peter Campbell livid on the sidelines for the Laurier Golden Hawks as he thought that Zachary Angelini, one of Angelini's feet was in the restricted area. We couldn't really tell from our angle here. It was definitely a close call, but a great play by Zach Angelini setting up before the offense, before Simon Poland Couillard could realize he was there. Because of that, a nice charge for him and potentially another momentum seizer for this Brock Badger team down the stretch of this third quarter.
Under a minute remaining in this third quarter, the Badgers have a chance to re-extend their lead to 10 points. They lead it by 8, 63-55. Tyler Brown taking orders from his coach. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Brown, an aggressive take. Nice pass to Simpson. And the Badgers lead by 10 again.
Back-to-back plays from Tyler Brown that we're used to seeing from him on a consistent basis. Being controlled, being quick, getting that first step, getting into the lane, and then finding the open teammate when the defense collapses on him. Good plays back-to-back for Tyler Brown. Back-to-back assists for him. Matt Chessen's checking back into the game for this Laurier Golden Hawk team. It seems like every time that he goes out of the game, the Badgers seem to make a run. He's the key to their defense, their interior defense.
Yeah, no question about it. The best player on this Golden Hawk team today, with Will Coulthard struggling. But again, I mean, Coulthard's not hitting his shot, but that's going to be the second three-point foul he's drawn. At that rate, if I'm Will Coulthard, I'm going to keep looking for contact.
And that's exactly what we saw in that Meridian game, Zach. 2 3-point fouls by the Badgers in that game at the Meridian Center. This one, 2 fouls on 3-point attempts again in this one today. You can't have that at any level of basketball, let alone a home playoff game. plays like that are just absolute momentum killers, Zach.
And that was Tyler Brown's 4th personal foul. So one more, he's out of the game, and we still got another 10 minutes to play, so Kissy forced to take him out, and it'll be interesting to see when he comes back. I mean, Nolan McKenzie's a serviceable point guard, obviously. Nate Gardner's been playing well today.
Substitution, checking back in the game for 14.
We're going to have now Ryan Bennett coming in, taking out Joniel Simpson. So the Badgers will hold for the last possession. Ideally, we'll see if they are able to do it. Gardner nearly lost the basketball. Saunders to Connors. Connors to Bennett. 10 seconds on the clock. No rush right now as Gardner has the ball. 4 on the clock now. Angelini. And they're going to get a foul on Thomas. And that's going to send the Badgers to the free throw line with 1.7 left in the third quarter. And that's going to be number 15, Zach Angelini, who's a 79% free throw shooter.
That's a really unfortunate call for the Laurier Golden Hawks. But again, for the Badgers, a fortunate call, an opportunity now to stretch this lead to double digits heading into the fourth quarter. That would be huge for this Badger team. So we saw the last time the Golden Hawks faced a double-digit deficit against the Badgers in that game, January 13th. They completely unraveled offensively, defensively. After being down by 10 at half, they ended up losing that game by 24 points. So if the Badgers can get this even a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter, the Golden Hawks are going to really have their work cut out for them in the final 10 minutes of play.
So a couple big free throws there by Angelini. One of them good, one of them not good. But the steal by Angelini, and he draws the foul again. Zach Angelini, the X Factor from Justin Bregman, with a huge 1.7 seconds right now for the Badgers. And he'll have a chance to extend it back to double digits.
I mean, I'm not going to say that's a backbreaker, Zach, but not a nail in the coffin. But a play like that is an absolutely killer for your team, especially when you just gave up a cheap foul
and
5 seconds earlier.
Yeah, Will Coulthard is livid on the sidelines right now for Laurier. He's not happy at all with that call. That could be a back-breaking call right now. Gets the Badger crowd back into it and gives Angelini a couple more chances to add to his total, but he splits it, so
Badgers are able to bring their lead from 8 points to 10 points.
So interestingly enough, they don't add any more time on the clock. I mean, realistically, what would they have added? 1.1, 1.2, wouldn't have got a shot off anyway, so after 3 quarters of play, the Badgers able to extend their lead back to double digits at 67-57. And in just a moment, Justin Bregman will be joined with the head coach of the Brock Badgers in Charles Kissy. But Lewis says he's developing a plan right now before he goes over to Justin. What did you like in those last 3 minutes that got the Badgers back up by 10?
Well, I really liked their energy at the defensive end, and because they were able to get stops and 4 stops and then finish at the offensive end, I mean, you need 2 plays to really get the crowd into it. A stop at one end and then an executed basket at the other end. The Badgers really seem to do that later on in that quarter.
We're going to go ahead and send it now to Justin, who's with Charles Kissy Live.
Talking before the game about how amazing the crowd has been this year. How do you think your boys have stayed poised in the first playoff game for most of them so far through 3 quarters?
Pretty good. I think we've done a pretty good job. We'll hopefully continue to close this out, but we're doing okay so far. We got to finish out this last quarter.
The school hasn't seen a playoff win in 8 years. You're up 10 after 3 quarters. You talked before the game that this team deserves this win. How are you going to get it done?
Well, we got to finish out, win this quarter by 1 or more. That's it. I mean, we got to continue to defend, rebound, handle the ball screen a little bit better. It's everyone's playing for their season right now, so we have to be desperate as if we're down.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Zach, back to you.
Thanks for that, Justin. You can see Charles Kissy anxious to try and get these Badgers back in the win column. Of course, as we mentioned in the intro, their last playoff win at home here at the Bob Davis Gymnasium came back in 2008. And Lewis, you know what year that happened to be? That happened to be the year the Badgers won their 3rd national championship in school history. They beat Acadia in that game. Brad Roots, the former head coach of this Brock Badger team, was the point guard at that time. And a lot of time has passed in between those years now. 8 years later, and the Badgers have a chance to make history in front of arguably the biggest crowd the Bob Davis Gymnasium has ever seen. Certainly the most raucous crowd.
Oh, there. You look around. This is unbelievable. Zach, you think about the first game I ever broadcast here. It was a playoff game 4 years ago. 4 years ago it was a playoff game here. There's only one guy in this roster, that'd be Nate Gardner, that was on that team at the time. They didn't win the game. It was against McMaster. And I don't even know if you could fill 2 sections in the stadium that was at that playoff game. It's remarkable. Not only just the crowd here, but the noise, the atmosphere, the intensity. And it looks like a real team out there, too.
And an unbelievable job by Charles Kissy coming into this program. 4 wins his first year, 7 his second year, up to 13 in his third year. I mean, the popularity of this team, the talent of this team has grown exponentially, and it's only going to continue to do that going forward.
And right now the Badgers are starting to take over offensively, 2 big baskets, and finally they start a quarter on a good foot. And now they've just got to keep shoring up that defense as they've extended their lead now to 14 points. It's 71-57. Chase on to Tenney. Now Mikri. He elevates his contact and he'll go to the line for 2 free throws. As we get some updates around the OUA right now in terms of Wilson Cup action. The Lakehead Thunderwolves are playing the Western Mustangs after 3 quarters. Lakehead leads Western 44-39. The Queens Golden Gales are currently about to get set in the 4th quarter as well. They're currently cruising against the Varsity Blues. A surprise entrance on Monday after York was disqualified for dressing an ineligible man. They're currently trailing 75-54, so Queens likely moving on against Ottawa. And the 3rd game right now, Windsor leading a close one as we get set for the 4th quarter there, 56-52 against the Laurentian Voyagers. That pesky team, they like to stick around. We saw it right here at the Bob Davis Gymnasium, and if you want to watch any of those games, OUA TV with the capability to watch quad screen 4 games, just go to OUA.tv and you can catch all the action on the Wilson Cup.
I'll tell you, I'll be checking that broadcast out as soon as this one's over. It's an ill-advised turnover, an unforced turnover there as Joniel Simpson dribbles the basketball off his foot. And Zach, I mean, offense can win games, but defense wins championships. As stereotypical as that sounds, as cliche as that sounds, the Badgers have really shored up their defensive efforts in the second half, and they're going to look to continue to do that down the stretch of this game. So I look like I just jinxed that last play as a complete defensive miscommunication by the Badgers leads to an easy layup for Mikre.
Connors drops off for Marshall. Marshall down low to Elgadi, and that connection, it's been there pretty much all night when they want to use it. Matt Marshall, one of the better passing big men in the OUA, and that time finds a wide open Elgadi once again, who has now 25 on the night. Good defense again. The Badgers the other way pushing the pace. Bennett, nice pass to Marshall, and they're going to say an offensive foul on Bennett.
And Zach, that play as basketball, in basketball is so controversial after you throw that pass and you run into a man, as if your momentum carries you into another man. Is that a charge? Or is that just a no call based on the fact that the player had passed the ball and doesn't have it anymore? We've seen plays like that go both ways. We've seen charges being drawn. We've seen no calls. We've seen blocking fouls as well. But it's a very controversial play, something that not many people really know the true answer to.
Zach, in a 12-point game here, 73-61. The way Elgadi's playing, this could be possibly his best game of the season. He is shooting 79% from the field right now, 25 from the field. We'll have to keep going to his side. The guys are not missing.
And they've all pretty much come within 5 feet. And that's where he struggled from for a good 1 to 2 week stretch where he couldn't seem to get any of those layups to fall. But, I mean, the game against McMaster at the Meridian Center a week ago from today, that was a fantastic game for him to get it going. And now he's carried that over, no doubt about it today. And considering the fact that this is playoff basketball, Charles Kissy's got to be happy he's able to get out of that slump.
Let's give a ton of credit also to Joniel Simpson. Danny Elgadi and Joniel Simpson are combined to be shooting 19 of 29 from the field. Good for 65%. When your top 2 guns are firing on all cylinders, as Elgadi and Simpson are, it makes it so much harder for the opposition to match that offensive output. You can't really name a lot of teams in the OUA that have the offensive firepower that this Brock team has.
Another basket for the Badgers. And they now continue to extend their lead, 75-62.
And a smart play now by Elgadi, fronting Chesson, not allowing him to catch it in the low post.
Mikri, the shot, there's contact, and he'll go to the line now again for 2 free throws. And quickly, the team fouls are piling up for the Badgers. That's 4 in 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Just let me know when you want it.
And this could be a problem. I know it's a 13-point lead now, but if you're going to keep sending Laurier to the free throw line, they're going to have freebies to chip away at this lead. And if Brock goes cold, which we've seen numerous times today, that 10-point lead can evaporate.
And the Golden Hawks are shooting just 18 for 53 after 3 quarters. That's good for just over 33% from the field. So if you're the Badgers, it's going to be important to stay aggressive, but not aggressive enough that you foul. Force the Golden Hawks to make some shots over the top first before you start playing as aggressive as the Badgers are on defense, because they keep doing that, they're going to be sending them to the line and giving them free point opportunities.
McKenzie. Passes to Marshall, the pass down low to Elgadi. Ill-advised, but he gets it to fall. A second chance effort.
Badgers look like they were going for the knockout kill with that backdoor alley-oop to Elgadi. Would have brought the house down, send this crowd into an absolute frenzy.
But again, why? The game's not over yet. They haven't hit one alley-oop all season long. I just think they've got to focus on the game plan right now. That's an ill-advised. Luckily, they were able to get the second chance effort to fall, but still 6.5 minutes to go. Only a 13-point lead. Make that 14.
Rebounds in the first, 10 offensive rebounds in the first half for the Golden Hawks. Badgers shored up that front on defense as they held Laurier to only 2 offensive rebounds in that third quarter.
Ryan Bennett's going to check back in and he's going to take out Joniel Simpson. The referee is just giving a tutorial on how to substitute to the Badgers right now. He's complaining that the Badger was not in position to check in. Luckily, they were able to get Ryan Bennett back out there, though. As Joniel Simpson has 3 fouls, you leave him out and he picks up a 4th. That could have been problematic. McKenzie. Now Gotti. The shot from just outside the free throw line, no good. And Coulthard pulls the rebound, and we're going to get an offensive foul now on Mikri, number 2. No, it's going to be on Poland Couliard. And the Badgers are going to regain possession, so an ill-advised foul there as Coulthard really had a clear path to an easy basket. And this is going to give the Badgers another opportunity to milk this clock.
And a really unfortunate play for Poland Couliard, especially right after the fact that he played very solid defense on Elgadi, didn't allow Elgadi to beat him off the first step, forced Danny into shooting a perimeter jump shot, which rolled around the rim, nearly went in, but I mean, it seems like it's been the first time all day that the Golden Hawks have had a good defensive possession against Elgadi, forcing him to shoot an outside jump shot.
Marshall down low to Elgadi. Elgadi the spin, he dishes off, and they're going to get him on a travel anyways. Definitely the right call there. Took a couple extra steps and was falling to the ground. Tried to play it off smoothly, but a good eye there from the referees. And
he seemed to be indecisive on that play, Elgadi did. It looked like he had his head up waiting for the double team to come, and when it didn't, he put the ball on the floor, and then the double team came, which threw Elgadi out of rhythm there and forced him to travel and turn the ball over. Smart defensive play by the Golden Hawks.
Tenney, the 3-point shot, no good. He's cooled off considerably after a hot first half. Rather make that a first quarter where he scored 10 points. And when he's only averaging 7 on the season.
Invisible since that first quarter was dominant. Golden Hawks were right in the game. Keep in mind, they were down by 1 point after the first quarter. They even took the lead in the third. But since then, the crowd has gotten back into it. Gotti has taken over this game. And they haven't looked back since week 13 here with 5:51 to go in the fourth.
And just in a critical time near for the Badgers as Chesson has just checked out of this game. Really no big man presence for this Laurier team on the inside. Look for the Badgers to feed it down to Marshall and Elgadi and try to grow this lead.
Bennett, the left hand, he gets it to fall over Mikri. And that's a big basket. It's now a 15-point lead, their biggest of the night. Thomas to Poland Couliard. Back to Mikri. And that pass over the head of Coulter, it's going to be another turnover by the Golden Hawks, and now Brock slowly starting to take over and control this basketball game. Things not looking as bright for the Golden Hawks. They're going to need to play outstanding. They're going to need some things to fall their way if they're going to want to come back in this game.
That's right, Zach. A 15-point lead for the Badgers, 5 minutes and 21 seconds to go. It's going to be important to execute on offense, but defense right now still of utter importance for this Badger team. Continue to force the Laurier Golden Hawks to shoot outside jump shots. Don't allow them to get that penetration into the lane like they were getting early on in that third quarter, which is what kept them in the game.
It's going to be an interesting 5 minutes and 20 seconds in regards for what Charles Kissy does today, or rather for the next 5 minutes. Is he going to go with his starters? Is he going to go with the reserves? I mean, I'm not sure why Chasen's off the court right now. He's clearly been the Golden Hawks' best player. He's been a difference maker when he's on the court. They've been able to numerous times cut down a sizable deficit to come back into this game. We saw it at the start of the third quarter. They were up by 8. The Badgers were before they brought it back and tied the game up at 44 apiece. He hasn't been playing lately, and the Badgers again able to open up a big lead, now the biggest it's been all game long.
And Zach, I want to give a ton of credit to head coach Charles Kissy of this basketball team, and what he's done is really managed this game much better than he has all season long. In that Meridian game, we saw Daniel Gotti play 39 minutes. We saw Joniel Simpson play 38 minutes. And in this game, Gotti and Simpson both 26 minutes after 3 quarters. So Charles Kissy finding moments in the game, whether it be a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, a couple of seconds here, a couple of seconds there, to keep El Gotti and keep Joniel Simpson fresh for the fourth quarter of this game, because this is the most important time for any basketball game, is crunch time in the fourth quarter. And we saw in that Meridian game, it seemed that Simpson and Daniel Gotti were a little burnt out, and they weren't really able to affect the game as much as they normally do in that fourth quarter of the Meridian game, whereas this game's a different story. Both players seem to be fresh, so they've had a little extra rest in this game.
Gardner to Marshall. Down low to El Gotti. 4 on the shot clock. The double team comes. Bennett wide open, me on the arc. And the dagger from Ryan Bennett. A big three-pointer, his third of the game. And the Badgers lead by 18.
And Zach, this game's not over yet by any means, but an 18-point lead, 4 minutes and 40 seconds ago, after what looks like a dagger three-pointer. Momentum completely on the side of the Brock Badgers right now.
Another foul call, though, on Nate Gardner. Just his second personal foul.
And that cheap fouls like this on three-point opportunities, on plays, 30, 35 feet away from the basket, simple blocking fouls or hand check fouls you can't have in any game. I mean, obviously the Badgers are winning this one by 18, but if you make ill-advised, stupid fouls like that against upper echelon teams, such as your next opponent, if the Badgers win Carleton, I mean, if you send Carleton to the line and put them in the bonus early on, I mean, you're going to get burned by them. Badgers need to watch themselves for the rest of this game in terms of how aggressive they are, and in the next game if they're able to advance. Can't have these cheap fouls consistently.
Tyler Brown. Pass to El Gotti, and a good defensive play there with the kick to stop what would have been another potential big jam by number 13. But nonetheless, the Badgers will reset with 19 on the shot clock.
Number 4, Javier Tenney. He replaces number 10, Owen Coulter.
Thomas drops it off for Chasen, who's now back in the game. Coulter looking for the drop. It's stolen. Tyler Brown the other way, and he kisses it off the glass. A good move there by Tyler Brown, who finally gets on the board with his first 2 points of the night. Chasen able to hit the shot again. He's been great all night long.
But Zach, basketball is a team game. You need more than one guy if you want to win a game, especially a playoff game.
Oh, God, he dribbled it off his foot, but Bennett saves it. Pass to Simpson. Nice pass to Marshall, and he's able to get it off the glass with 2 on the shot clock. The lead remains 18. Tenney shot quick and no good. And now if I'm the Badgers, I'm trying to milk as much of this 24-second shot clock as I can every single possession. No rush at all. You lead by 18, another basket will give you 20 points. Barring something ridiculous and crazy and unforeseen, the Badgers are going to be heading to Carleton. So right now they got to play smart basketball. Don't get into physical, aggressive play. You want to be healthy, most importantly. You got a tough matchup on Saturday against Carleton. Can't afford any injuries. Chasing again, though, working on Matt Marshall. Making it look easy, number 12 for the Golden Hawks is. Brown, aggressive take, he's swatted by Mikri.
Badgers offense starting to get a little bit stagnant as it looks like they're cruising now with this 18-point lead. And you know, when you're up 18 points with just 2.5 minutes to go as a head coach, you got to think it's time to preserve my players now. Get ready for the next game.
Off the inbound pass, Simpson finishes the finger roll, and the Badgers hit the 90-point mark. Can they get to triple digits? Coulthard can't get it to fall, but he'll go to the line with a couple, and you could sense the frustration on his face in what is his last game ever as an OUA player, a fifth-year senior, bearing, again, as we mentioned, something beyond a miracle for this Golden Hawk team. He's going to end his Golden Hawk career as one of only 3 players in Laurier history to score over 1,400 points in his career. So, I mean, a tremendous player. Meant so much to this team. He's been such an integral cog to the Golden Hawks over the years, and I mean, so instrumental on their big upset against Western last year where he dropped 34 points. But today wasn't his night, and the scoreboard certainly reflects that.
Yeah, that's right, Zach. This Laurier team's solid by all means, but again, they aren't an elite team. They don't have the depth that this Brock team has, and you know, when I look at this Laurier team, I think a little bit about Brock. They do have some good, solid pieces. They've got a great big man in Chesson, a pretty solid dominant guard in Coulthard.
Look at the ball movement, Lewis. Unselfish play. They find the open man, and Elgadi with another slam. Now they're just doing it for the crowd right now, and what a deserving crowd this is. This is probably going to be the last game of the year here at the Bob Davis Gymnasium, and I know we started late in the basketball season in terms of home games, the first one only coming on the 27th here in November, rather, the 27th, and now they'll get to close the season. Almost every single game has been a sellout this season outside of Reading Week. It's been truly fantastic, and I think it's safe to say that this season you're going to really be hard-pressed to find better fans in the OUA than the Brock Badger fans here at Brock.
And Zach, regardless of what happens in this game, what a successful season it's been for this Brock team. After winning just 4 games 2 years ago and Charles Kissey's debut as head coach, they improved to 7 to 13 wins this year in his 3rd year. They're going to come away with a playoff victory as well. So all positives, all gravy from here on out, regardless of what happens on Saturday against the #1 ranked Carleton Ravens.
And over 900 rebounds, give it up for the Badgers, number 13.
So 1:56 now remaining in this game. The Badgers up by 22. Should be a cakewalk from here for the boys, as they've certainly escaped what looked like a lot closer game, what looked like they could have been upset here. Just a few moments ago, they really settled down again in the 4th quarter when it mattered most. Not only did they start becoming very efficient offensively, they really locked down defensively, and really that's been the difference.
Badgers since 2008.
As the PA announcer here, Rod Mahood, the last Badger playoff win here at home. Back in 2008, they beat Acadia in the national championship.
And I want to blow the roof off the Bob tonight.
And right now, it appears as
Press record. And at the count of 3, we're going to make as much noise.
we're going to see. Apparently, we're going to try and get as loud as possible, try and break the record set by CenturyLink Field in Seattle.
2, 1, get on.
Let's see if you can hear it, fans at home. Marshall the inbound, chasing to guard. Colin Connors with the basketball. 15 on the shot clock. It wouldn't be surprised if the Badgers run it down to the final seconds from here on out. Connors. And he's going to draw the foul, and that's going to be their 5th team foul. So that means Connors is going to head to the line now for a couple. And, I mean, guys, I've asked this question to Lewis. I've asked you a bunch of times. I mean, we've had this discussion throughout years past. The Badgers are going on. They're up 22 points with 1:40 to go. But Matt Marshall remains on the court. Ryan Bennett just came out. Danny Elgotti's still out there. They're slowly now starting to take out some of those starters. I guess now it's kind of been answered, but are you surprised that Elgotti's still out there, and do you think he should be out there?
I mean, from a perspective of a coach and the fact that they're playing Carleton on Saturday, I wouldn't have him out there. I simply don't want to risk injury at all the start of the game. But the game he's having tonight, I believe they just did take him out, so Zach. I think it just answered all of our questions. But I get it. The crowd, the emotion. This is the last time these fans will probably see this team this year. They paid money to get in here. Don't forget tonight. This is not a free game for students anymore. This is the playoffs, and they all came to see a guy who's certainly going to be a candidate that's up there.
Yeah, no question about it. Did go through that little slump as we mentioned throughout, but still has unbelievable numbers. 19.9 points. Wish we could have got that .1 to say 20, but he still led the OUA in rebounds per game at 11.7. An efficient player, as we mentioned, over 2 blocks, over 2 steals. 77 from the line. And really just a tremendous basketball player. And the best news of all, he's only in his 3rd year. He's still got next year for sure, and if he wants to come back for a 5th year, he has another chance. And if he stays healthy through all that, he could, when it's all said and done, be the greatest men's basketball player this university has ever seen. Angelini again, an aggressive take. He'll go to the line. And, I mean, that question certainly has been answered if you look at the court. Colin Connors, Elijah Green, Mitch Saunders, Kane Annesley, and Zach Angelini all out there. So all reserves. And a bunch of first years as well. Saunders, Annesley, Connors, and Elijah Green. So good run for them and good experience for them as they'll be able to carry that on into the next round. And, of course, as they continue their careers here.
That's right, Zach, and I just want to allude back to the X factor that I mentioned earlier on in this game, Zach. Matty Marshall didn't have the impact I thought he would have on in terms of scoring points and attacking the glass, but 9 assists for him. That's a game high, potentially a career high for him. So an unbelievable game for him, facilitating the basketball, passing it, finding the open teammate.
Big 3-point shot there from Will Coulthard's brother, Owen Coulthard. And he's going to be asked to carry on that load moving forward, just averaging 16.6 minutes per game. Averaging just 6.6 points per game. Started 5 games on the year, and you can expect that to be a full-time job next season. And he's certainly shown glimpses. Obviously not tonight, but he's a guy who's got a lot of range. He can hit the 3-point shot. Plays similar like his brother. Won't ever be the player that his brother was, obviously. But, I mean, again, just like the Brock women's team that we mentioned earlier, this Laurier Golden Hawk team is also going to have to go through a transition. They've slowly lost Max Allen. They've now going to lose Will Coulthard. And really a comparison to make here that hits home is really the men's hockey team. We saw them lose Matt Abercrombie one year. The next year they lose Andrew Rajenovic. And now this year they went through a tough time. Obviously they did have some injuries, but they missed the playoffs. So
not only that, Zach, but Matt Chesson, also this is his 4th year at school playing for the Laurier Golden Hawks. So if they lose him and Will Coulthard, that could be absolutely detrimental to their success moving forward.
And Coulthard able to hit both of the shots as there's now 48 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. The Badgers still lead it by 20. It's 96-76. Couple more possessions offensively for the Badgers, and it should do it. Connors. Angelini. The spin and fade. Can't get it to drop it. Annesley, the hustle to get the offensive rebound. A nice pass to Elijah Green, but it doesn't drop. The other way, Teddy. Nifty moves, but it's going to be a block, and he's going to go to the free throw line for a couple. And now quickly we'll take a look here at the bracket of the Wilson Cup 2016 playoffs, as you see on your screen coming up. Obviously, the Badgers are going to be moving on. We will give you some updates on some out-of-town scores here as we wrap things up at the post-game show. But the Badgers, as you can see, will go on to play Carleton. The winner of that game will take on the winner of the Queens versus Ottawa game, and whoever wins that will go to the OUA Championship Finals. And if the Badgers can play like they have in this fourth quarter, really in the latter stages of this game when they've been on their game, they're going to give Carleton a run for their money. And the Badgers turn it over again. 12 and a half seconds remaining. And now this should do it. This will be the final possession. We've got the confetti gun ready.
Potentially a storming of the court as well coming.
Brace yourself, boys.
Some of these fans making their way courtside, and this could be an absolutely insane celebration. Confetti storming the court. Boomer the Badger doing his thing at center court. Who knows what this post-game celebration has in store for these Brock Badgers.
So he gets them both to fall now. 10 seconds remaining as Tenny's going to try and do something quick. Goal target from downtown, no good. 3, 2, 1 on the game. The Badgers are going on to the second round of the playoffs. And they'll take on the number 3 seeded Carleton Ravens in the next round of the Wilson Cup playoffs. What a game. As we see the confetti now flying out, the Badgers win it 98-80. And Charles Kissy continues to make his mark on Brock Badger basketball.
What an unbelievable game, Zach, and what an unbelievable atmosphere here. Confetti. We haven't seen something like this for 8 years, Zach. It's been an 8 long, arduous years since the Badgers' last home playoff victory where they went on to win the CIS title. And what an unbelievable season it's been, regardless of what happens in Carleton. The Badgers have accomplished and achieved so much this season, so much more than these fans, casual fans, expected coming into the year, as head coach Charles Kissy has led this team to 13 wins. They had 11 wins the 2 seasons prior to this one. A playoff victory as well to put some icing on the cake. What an atmosphere, what a game. And what a game we're expecting on Saturday, Zach. The Badgers are expecting, or will be traveling to Ottawa to take on the Carleton Ravens, the number 1 ranked Carleton Ravens. They're going to have their work cut out for them, but for now, it's all celebration.
Your last game, I'm back at home. Thank you for being a great president. Thank you for supporting our program. The university's done a great job. I appreciate you.
So we get a special shout out to the president here at Brock University, Jack Lightstone, being honored in what is going to be his final year here as president of Brock University. And as Charles Kissy takes the mic, we'll continue to just wrap things up here, and then quickly Justin will be joined with the Badgers and player of the game. Who else other than Danny Elgadi, who dropped 27 points, a double-double, a big game for him. And I mean, truly a fantastic atmosphere. This is likely the end of the road for home games in terms of Badger basketball, unless something unforeseen happens where the Badgers would host the OUA Finals.
End of the road for home games, Zach, but a new beginning for this team, for this program, as we've seen not only the crowds and the hype of this team grow so much over the past couple seasons under Charles Kissy, but we've seen the talent level and the recruiting ability of Charles Kissy to bring in talented players, to bring in good team players as well for this Brock culture and this Brock team. It's been a great sight to see. The present's bright, but the future is even brighter, as we've got a couple more years of Elgadi and Simpson, a couple of the first-year players as well. Tyler Brown has had an unbelievable season. He's got at least 3 more seasons of eligibility, if not more. So the future is definitely bright for this Brock team.
I tweeted we have the biggest fans in the country.
It's been a long time coming for this, Zach. We knew Charles Kissy accepted this job and took this job with a vision like this in mind. Unbelievable, though, to see it come to fruition so early on in his career as the head coach of this men's basketball team.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. Charles Kissy en class. We'll see you all at Isaac's after tonight's game. Please join us at Isaac's after tonight's game.
So getting set now as Danny Elgadi will be joined with our very own Justin Bregman.
I mean, look at these players, Zach. I mean,
they're loving it here.
They haven't seen success like this in so long, as we see Choniel Simpson doing snow angels in the confetti.
We're going to go ahead and send it now courtside, where Danny Elgatti, the Badger Den player of the game, is joined with Justin Bregman. Justin?
27 points, 11 rebounds, almost identical numbers as you did a couple weeks ago in Laurier. You own this team. You've been on this team for 3 years now. Just think about where you started and where you've been, and what culture has been built here at Brock since you've been here.
A culture of hard work, discipline, and just doing the right things and doing what it takes to win. I've been here since year one, and Kissy just brought in a group of guys that want to win, that want to do what it takes. But hats off goes to Kissy. He's like the coach he's the captain at this helm, and he just leaded us to a great culture, great team. That's just a great word for us, team.
He spoke so much about the fan support. I've been here broadcasting this team for 4 years now. I've never seen something like it was here tonight. The confetti, the crowd, the chants, the atmosphere. Think about what has gone and transpired all to creating that winning culture that you just talked about.
The fans, our number one fans in the CIS, are a huge part of our culture. Not only do they inspire us to win, they bring us out, they compete. They make Brock University one of the hardest places to play. And I think they're a huge piece to our culture. It adds to the value of a winning program, and we just can't thank them enough. A lot of wins are based on them just being there for us when we needed them.
Danny, best of luck on Saturday in Ottawa.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
All right, Zach, there's Danny Elgatti, 27 points tonight. He shot 75% from the field. Zach, back to you.
Thanks for that, Justin. An absolutely great game by Danny Elgatti, and considering the magnitude of this game, surrounding this game, the fact it is a playoff game, they have a chance to win their first home playoff game since 2008, the same year they won their last national championship. So much surrounding this game, and Elgatti played outstanding, 75% from the floor. This is arguably his best game of his entire career, and that says something considering how good he's been in his short amount of time that he's been here.
And that's right, Zach. Great players show up in the biggest moments, and Danny Elgatti getting it done on both ends of the court. Over 20 points, over 10 rebounds, getting it done. Had a steal in this game, had a block in this game, doing it on both ends of the court, and that's what has made him such a lethal player and a prime MVP candidate in this league.
Now, Lewis, obviously the Badgers now have to quickly transition their focus from the Laurier Golden Hawks towards the Carleton Ravens, team that finished number one in the national rankings. They're ranked 1 in the country, but they're only ranked 3 in the OUA. They did host the Carleton Ravens here a couple weeks ago. Obviously, you weren't here for that, or you were here for that, actually. And the Badgers kept it close. They were within 10 points at the start of the fourth quarter. They ended up losing that one 90-65. But again, the score a little misleading. What do the Badgers need to do now heading to their barn? What do they need to do to take care of business and move on to the next round?
Well, there's a couple things they need to do. One, win the rebounding battle is going to be of utter importance. 2, limit your turnovers. That's going to be very important. But the number one thing, don't allow the Carleton Ravens to get second chance opportunities like the Laurier Golden Hawks did today. The Badgers got away with giving up 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. But if you give up 10 offensive rebounds in a half to the number 3 team in the OUA, you just make it that much harder for yourself to come back and execute, especially during a road game. And also the cheap fouls, Zach. We saw 2 fouls on 3-point attempts for the Laurier Golden Hawks. They went to the line, and not sure if they made all 6 of those free throws, but you can't be giving up free opportunities like that. The Badgers can limit those cheap fouls and limit the offensive rebounds that they give up against the Carleton Ravens. They're going to have a fighting chance in that game.
And I just will update you on some of the out-of-town scores pertaining to the Wilson Cup. The Lakehead Thunderwolves beat the Western Mustangs in a thriller, 60-58. It was another big 3-point shot from Henry Tan. We saw that in the home opener right here at the Bob Davis Gymnasium, right about 10 feet behind, right outside the corner 3-point shot there, rather the elbow. That was a tremendous shot. Lakehead's going to move on. Queens took care of business against Toronto, so they'll move on against Ottawa. And the winner of that game will take on the winner of the Badgers-Carleton game with a shot to head on to the OUA Finals. And the last game, the Windsor Lancers taking care of business as well, as expected in that regard. So next round of playoffs quickly approaching. It's going to happen Saturday. Of course, the women Brock Badger team lost in that one in Guelph, ending their season and ending the season of a lot of seniors. And Lewis, this very well may be your last year here in the booth. We may not have any more broadcasts the rest of the season. And if this is the end, I would like to truly say it's been a pleasure with you here in the booth. You've done a tremendous job. We would love to have you back next year. I'm going to try and recruit you hard throughout that time. Again, we'd like to give a special to Justin Bregman, who's returned for his alumni performance. He did a tremendous job all over in every single corner of the gym, and we thank him for coming out here. And of course, we thank all you fans for tuning in all year long here on OUA.TV, for tuning in, being a Badger fan, and sticking with us. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you some more coverage this season. But if this is in fact the end, again, we thank you for tuning in this year, and we look forward to bringing you more action for the 2016-2017 season. On behalf of myself, Lewis Glatt, Justin Bregman, Matt Anderson, and the rest of the BrockTV crew, we thank you for a wonderful year, and we wish you a wonderful good night.